Hi and welcome to Angling For You. Today we're at Birkwood Fisheries and they're on the top pond of quite a few different ponds that he's got. Got some smaller ones, Emily's, Molly's, down the other side, which are sort of little mini match venues, small carp. He's got a little special pond, and then this is the main sort of match pleasure pond. Fish up to £20 in here, and you know, everything. There's tons of silvers in this great winter venue. What we're doing today really is the session I want to do is it's called meat and pellet on the feeder, and we're just going to fish it short. Probably going to get a lot of silvers, might get some odd carp thrown in there as well, and literally just sort of couple of rod lengths out, underarm flick, and we're just going to fish it in front of us. So the meat, it looks pretty grim to be honest, is just some cheap chopped pressed ham or pork, what you get from Lidl's or Aldi or anything like that, and all we've done is whiz that up in the Magimix, and we've just put it in with a little bit of water to keep it from drying out. And then I've soaked some 4mm pellets, and all they are doing is I'm putting a little bit of both in together to make a little sort of paste almost, and that's what's going to go in the feeder, which we will show you now. The feeder is just normal sort of ground bait cage feeder that you'd use in your winter time or your river fishing. It's got some nice spikes on the inside, so it does grip onto whatever you tend to be putting in. It's free running on the line, and we've got £6 diaper sensor on there to a little bead, and we've got a really short sort of 3.5 4 inch hook link with an 8mm pellet banded, and that's what they call it, a size 14 PR36 hook, Preston hook, and that's as simple as it gets really. As you can see, when we drop it down, it sits really close to it, so if you imagine in the water, everything's exploding out that feed, and that's what we want, the meat attraction we want from the meat, and it sort of explodes out and gives that cloud, that oil, an attraction straight away. It's not one of the methods you can cast really far unless you sort of plug it with a little bit of, just as you can see, if you plug it with a little bit of pellet, you may be able to cast it a little bit further, but I've just got a shelf in front of me, and you tend to at Birkwood, fish like to come and sort of live on that shelf rather than everybody usually casts right to the middle, and they normally cruise around when it gets a bit later on. We're fishing an afternoon session, so we're only here for a few hours, and you know, hopefully we'll catch a carp or two, but sort of main plan of attack really is anything that swims. So as you can see, it's pretty grim, so you do need to have with you a cloth or a towel or something you're not really bothered about, just to sort of keep on outside of you, to stop yourself from getting gunked up, especially on your reel. You don't want that in your reel, so give yourself quite a little bit of line, probably about 1.5 meters, and that's going to allow you to do that underhand cast. So get a sort of pendulum motion going first, and just a little flick like that, and like I say, probably 8 or 9 meters out there, and what we're doing is we're fishing onto a shelf, and this works in all venues, and it's a good thing to have as an option. You can also use pellet feeders, you can use maggot feeders, all sorts of methods, but fishing close in with the feeder a lot of people don't do. And I tell you, when you fish sort of shallow in the summer, to either have a bomb or a little pellet feeder to fish underneath your pole line is also a really good one. But I'm fingers crossed that there's going to be some carp cruising about, and we'll catch one. But like I say, what I'm anticipating is that we tend to catch some of the more silvers or the skimmers that are around then, and judging by this bite that I'm getting now, that's exactly what just went to attack it, and can be a bit irritating at first, but then sometimes you start to get to a better stamp of silvers, and you gently wean out those smaller fish and end up with a bigger stamp of that, if not the carp, which obviously is what we really do want to catch. I fished here last Friday. If anybody's members of the group or the channel, they'll have seen obviously the fish that we had out last week on meat, which is were a bit of a clonker. Not fishing this method, it were down the edge, but not it's a bit busier today and there's not much edge pegs. It's quite shallow here, and it's not known for its sort of capabilities. It's only sort of a foot deep here, and you don't tend to get the big ones down the edge as much around here. Using meats, especially in summer, is and not all venues allow you to do it. Such an attractive method of fishing. And we've got another small fish. And it's such an attractive method to catch all types of fish. It's super responsive with the oils that come out of it for fish to home in on straight away, and that's a nice roach. And you know, a lot of venues don't like you to use loads of meat, and this one is just a couple of tins and it'll last me all day. It's a nice little roach. That's the sort of stamp sort of fish that we're going to catch. Splash myself in the face. And you're probably thinking just swing it in, and you know, yeah, you could swing those type of fish in, but it's better if you can to net everything. A lot of the venues I fish anyway is a net only policy, so you might be wondering why I'm netting a sort of 4 ounce fish. That's why. But like any method, it's you've got to persist on it, and if I just keep these going in on a steady, weed all the smaller fish out, eventually there will be some sort of bigger fish that come into the peg. And again, just that little flick forward. Just keep yourself in a relaxed mode when you do it. Don't try and flick your first cast farther than you think you can. Just get a nice relaxed sort of underarm stroke, and don't release it until you think that it's sort of where you want to do it. I see a lot of people and they end up closer and far away, and if you get the same length of line and the same sort of motion, you tend to hit the same spot nearly every time. And I haven't got a line clip on. The reason being is obviously, like I said to you before, there's some whopper fish in here, and 6 pound line and quite a light setup. I want to land them, so basically if they hit this, I've got enough line to see them to the other side of the pond on my reel, so I've got a good chance of letting them steam off. And again, there's those small fish coming in and hitting it, which is fine to start off with. We're expecting that, so I'm not too fussed. I expect these quick darting bites on, and once they sort of start to die out and you don't get them they don't hit it as soon as it goes in as much, that's when you know that the bigger fish are sort of there. We'll say as well, whether you're fishing close, far away, whatever, always have your tip of your rod as close as you can get it to the water. That's sort of imperative really with feeder fishing, especially if you're not today as much with there's not much wind, but if it's windy you can miss so many indications. You want it just sort of as close as you really can get the tip to the water, if not touching it, especially if it's in windy conditions, so you can see those bites. And all the time there's touches on that rod. Do apologise for the angle, and it feels like I'm talking away from you, but it's not the best peg for fishing, for getting the camera in, if I'm honest. The tripod at the moment is in the water to try and get some sort of angle. We'll have a play about with that in a bit, see if we can get a bit better angle, but not very easy. And what's happening now, obviously the sun starting to not, I won't say set, but it's starting to not be as fierce, and that's what kind of time of day that you want really to put these big fish into your net, and fingers crossed they will start to drop onto this area where they see the sort of slick and you know the pellets. You don't want to leave it too much between each fish, or each cast should I say, that you put your feed in. You need to keep that feed going in probably no more than a minute really, and we're coming up to that very shortly, and that just assures that you're keeping those fish interested. This time of year there's plenty of fish, they'll eat plenty, you're not going to scare them off. We're not putting oceans of feed in there. It's we're not going to be at risk of scaring them off, that's for sure. It's another small silver. Nice little fish. Lovely roach. And into another fish now. See if we can close this session out. Another one from underneath the tree on a meat, piece of meat this time. Feeding pellet. There's a couple of fish there though, so I'm hoping just put a little bit of feed in there that the other one stays. Okay, did come out with not much disruption. Not a very big fish, but it is a carp. And like I said before, it's preferable to have a little whip or something what I normally carry. But today I was quick after work and it was pick up the gear and go. So a waggler it is. This fish done half go, this little carp. It's only sort of 3 or 4 pound, this one. Not the bigger of the two that I did see down there. They don't tend to come up as easy in this shallow water. They don't like it. They tend to run around in circles. Got Matt Richardson fishing to his right, and a couple of the other Angling For You boys also catching down the edge. They've done the sensible thing and bring the pole with them. And this one's putting a fantastic account of itself up, considering its size. And we're not messing about with this gear. I mean, it's not small. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's not small, but it's not. It's nothing ginormous. There we go. Let's set it up. A little shuffle on it in. Always make sure I get you pulls a lot of line off as your net on your knees, so that you can put your rod down and grab hold of the net to pick them up. It's a nice little fish. Like I said, about 3 or 4 pound. Nothing ginormous. Let's get him back. I hope this session's been helpful. I know it's started off on the feeder, but it just shows you how you can be adaptive using the same method, but adapting to your conditions. We're getting loads and loads of silvers out in front of us. Carp not moved into that area, and surprisingly moved into really shallow water. Like I say, this fig's sort of a foot deep really, and that in some places that's too deep, and it just shows how changing yourself and your tactics that you can bag the fish. So join us on the YouTube and the Facebook and the Instagram at angling_for_you. Come join us on the group on Facebook. It's really top lads and lasses that are on there, really good group, and thanks a lot. Ta lads.